verse 22, the stone which the builders refused has become head of the corner. Okay, it has a modern application. What is something in the modern times that in Israel, the builders, which is going to refer to the founders of the country, what is the stone that they are refusing? They're refusing the West Bank in Jerusalem because they're now willing, and they're stating they're willing to see the creation of a Palestinian state. Because they say that's a stone that is preventing us from having peace, and it's causing contention between us and the nations over it, besides us and the Palestinians. So that stone is being refused, but the prophecy says it is to be the head of the corner. So back to Isaiah 28, somehow the covenant of death is being associated with what he's doing in Zion. So therefore, the covenant of death has to be associated somehow with the dividing of the land in the city of Jerusalem. I believe a modern application of that covenant of death is Oslo of 1993, when there was an agreement to establish a Palestinian Authority with the goal of creating an environment for the ultimate purpose of creating a Palestinian state and resolving all outstanding issues in negotiations. But as we're speaking right now, the Palestinians have threatened that in the month of November to go to the United Nations, and they want to see the United Nations General Assembly vote to recognize a Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital. And if they do that, now they're saying that they're going to do that in the month of November, in the next month, that if they do that, Israel has said that's the end of Oslo. So if the covenant of death was Oslo, Israel is, and the prophecy is the covenant will be annulled because, the bed is not big enough. In other words, the promises of the covenant and the agreement is not coming to pass. And this is a covenant that the scornful men are making in Jerusalem. In other words, those who don't believe the covenant promise that was made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you're not ever going to give. When Abraham comes into the land in this Torah portion, where is he? Do you know where he came in? The plain of Mamre, you know where that is? That's in the heart of the West Bank. That's the plain of Mamre. When you come into the plain of Mamre there, with your eyesight, you can see with your eyesight. The Palestinians call it Nablus. It's one of the bigger cities of the West Bank. And biblically it's Shechem. And so that where Abraham came in when he came into the land. That's right. The West Bank is the area that Israel is saying that they're willing to give up for a Palestinian state for peace. They are rejecting the covenant that was made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In its place, they're making a covenant with death. So Isaiah 28 is talking about that covenant of death that's being made. It will be annulled because it doesn't work. And in contrast, the call is to believe what God's doing in Zion. That is gathering, uniting the 12 tribes of Israel. That's believing in Yeshua as Messiah and believing in the covenant made with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because that's the covenant that Messiah is going to defend. Done.
Hallelujah.
Are you class finish this service? Go Aruni class.
Eddie, I just really want to thank you for focusing on Yeshua. We hear a lot of speakers, and that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's
we really
Hallelujah.
appreciate God. Yeah, the
Hallelujah.
focus on Yeshua only. Praise God. Stand up, please.
Yevarechka Adonai beishmereka. Yael Adonai panav lecha bichuneka. Isa Adonai panav lecha beyasem lecha shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. 여호와께서 너를 복 주시기를 원하시며 너를 지키시기를 원하시며 여호와께서 내게 얼굴을 비치사 은혜 베푸시기를 원하시며 여호와께서 내게 얼굴을 향하여 드사 평강 주시기를 원하노라 할지니라 하라. Hashem Yeshua HaMashiach, Prince of Peace and coming King. Amen and Amen. Shalom Aleichem.